So here's something that doesn't make sense on the surface. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. You've got two people, both working, both earning. Maybe one of you runs a business, the other has a solid career, or maybe both of you have a W 2 income. Both pulling in good money. Either way, two incomes, and yet it doesn't feel like you're getting ahead twice as fast. It might not even feel like you're getting ahead at all. And if that's you, I want you to know something right up front. You're not bad with money. You're not doing it wrong. You're just caught up in something that almost nobody ever talks about. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's called the dual income trap. Here's how it works. When a household goes from one income to two, something shifts. And it's not just the bank balance. The whole psychology of spending changes. Think about it. When there was one paycheck, every dollar had weight. You could feel it. Decisions about spending were real decisions because there was one pile and everything came out of it. You had a natural constraint, not because you were disciplined, but because the math was obvious. Now add a second income. Suddenly, there's more money coming in, and that's great. You've doubled your income. But here's what happens almost immediately. The sense of constraint disappears. Not because you're reckless, but because the math stops being obvious. Two incomes, multiple accounts, different pay cycles, separate spending habits, the picture gets blurry. And when the picture gets blurry, spending expands. Not dramatically, not irresponsibly, just quietly. It's called mission creep, but we have another word for it. Let me give you some examples of what this looks like in real life because it's almost never the big stuff. It's the second car payment that felt reasonable because we can afford it now. It's the upgraded house, not a mansion, just a nicer place in a nicer neighborhood that added $800 a month to the mortgage. It's subscriptions that nobody audits because they're small and split across two cards. Happens to me. It happens to everyone. It's eating out 3 times a week instead of once because both of you are tired and cooking feels like a project after a long day. None of those decisions are bad. They're not decisions made in isolation. That's the thing. Each one makes perfect sense to you in the moment. But stack them up over a year, over 3 years, over 5 years, and you've built a lifestyle that requires both incomes just to maintain. And that's the trap. You went from one income being tight to two incomes being also tight. The number went up, but the margin didn't. Now, here's the part that really gets people when I talk them through this. When you need both incomes just to keep the household running, you've lost something that most people don't think about until it's gone. Optionality. What do I mean by that? I mean the ability to make real choices. What if one of you wants to start a business? What if one of you needs to step back for health reasons or take care of a parent or raising children? What if one of you gets laid off? Not theoretically, but actually on a random Tuesday, you get a message saying, don't come back to work. I know that's extreme. If your lifestyle requires 100% of both incomes, those aren't choices anymore, and they're very difficult to deal with when they happen. Dual income households think they're not vulnerable to this than they are. Most couples I talk to, when I ask them, could you survive comfortably on one income for 6 months? It's like a deer in the headlights. And the honest answer that I get is no. Not because they don't make enough, because they've built a life that consumes everything they make. And they didn't do it on purpose. It just happened. One reasonable decision at a time. Remember, I said they're not bad decisions, But when you make them because you feel good, and that dopamine is firing and you feel good, oh, I've got the money, and then boom, it just hits you. So let's talk about what's actually going on underneath this, because it's not just about spending too much. There are few dynamics that make dual income households especially vulnerable to this pattern. First one is lifestyle creep. Military calls it mission creep. Without a ceiling. When you get a raise at a single income home, you notice it. When both people get a raise in a dual income household, it is gradual and rises over periods of time, 5 years. The income may go up 30 to 40%, and somehow the lifestyle goes up 35 to 40%. The creep slightly outpaces the growth, and nobody catches it because the bank account never hits zero. The second one is financial fragmentation. This is a big one. A lot of couples, and I'm not just talking about people who don't communicate with each other, perfectly healthy relationships, they operate with separate accounts, separate spending, and no shared visibility into where the money is actually going. Not out of secrecy, out of convenience. But the result is the same. Nobody has the full picture. And when nobody has the full picture, nobody can manage the full picture. Got to have the big picture. The third one is the assumption of safety. Two income feel inherently safer than one. And statistically, sure, there's some truth to that, but the feeling of safety often becomes the justification for not building an actual safety net. We don't need 6 months of savings. We have two incomes. You ever said that or heard that before? Until you don't. And thinking, all right, so if you're hearing about all this and thinking, that sounds like a lot of us, what do you actually do about it? I'm not going to give you a budget. I'm not going to give you a template to follow or tell you to cut out your lattes like other people do. That's not how this works. But I will tell you the three things I've seen make the biggest difference in dual income households that want to actually turn this around. Number one, build one shared view of your money. I don't care how you do it, a spreadsheet, an app, a whiteboard on the fridge, but both incomes, all accounts, all reoccurring expenses visible in one place to both people. Not so you can police each other, so you can actually see the big picture. Most couples have never once looked at their combined financial life on a single page. And when they do, it's almost always a surprise. Number two, decide what your second income is actually for. This is a big one to unlock. Instead of both incomes bleeding into one big pool that lifestyle absorbs, get intentional. What if your second income or meaningful chunk of it had a job? Maybe it funds the emergency reserve. Maybe it goes toward paying off the house faster. Maybe it builds a runway for one of you in the partnership to get another job. It builds something other than consumption. The point is, give it a purpose. Lifestyle, give it a purpose that it intentionally goes to every paycheck. Or when you accumulate it, put it in another place. Number three, stress test your life against one income. Not forever, just an exercise. Look at your current monthly expenses and ask, if one of us stopped working or earning tomorrow, what would we have to change? The answer tells you exactly how much optionality you have. And that number is the one that matters most. Look, I know this isn't the most comfortable topic to talk about. Most conversations between partners are loaded. There's ego in there. There's fear. There's sometimes guilt. And I'm not pretending that one video is going to fix that. But here's what I've seen over and over again. The couples who break out of the dual income trap aren't the ones who make more. They're the ones who actually see clearly their big picture. They're the ones who sat down, looked at the real numbers together, and said, what do we actually want to do with our money? What do we want our money to do for us? That conversation, the real one, not the we should probably budget one that lasts 10 minutes and then gets forgotten, that's the one that changes things. And you don't need a financial degree to have it. You just need the full picture and the willingness to look at it honestly. If anything I said today makes you pause, even for a second, and gives you any kind of doubt, I'd encourage you to sit down and talk that through. Talk about it. Pull up the numbers. You might be surprised by what you find. We're going to talk about this in the next video because it's important in today's age to actually dig into this information because people are tight with their money. It's not because they don't have enough of it. It's because of what they have done with it, the dual income trap. So I want to ask you if you'll make sure you subscribe to these videos. We need that to build our subscription base. We also would like for you to go to the comments and just say, ask yourself the question, am I in the dual income trap or am I not? And be honest. I read them all and I'll answer you. And we'd like to see you back here next week at Personal Economic Coach on YouTube. And we're going to continue building on what people go through on a daily basis to get caught up in these situations. So I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. God bless.